I've been alive 88 years, which is quite a while. I never expected to be this long.
Roy Pomerning is a former Navy and commercial airline pilot, born October 23rd of 1935.
Anyway, I was in a squadron and land-based, and when you went to work or went home, you had to go by the end of the runway. It's actually right, off to the, I didn't quite button that. No wonder I was getting a draft in my nose. Anyway, you'd have to stop there. They had a light if they were recovering planes, if they were taking them off. And so I'm going to work, and it's daylight, but it's early. It's probably about 7:30 or something like that. And as I get there, the light that's usually green, or it can be red, which means you'd have to stop, just like a car, but it was flashing. So I thought I'd best stop, and I did. And they said, "What's your business here today?" I said, "Well, I'm here to fly an airplane." And they said, "Who are you attached to?" "I'm squadron," whatever it was. I don't remember the name of the squadron now. Didn't make any difference anyway. But they said, "Well, we've had an accident." And it just went, he says, "If you look to your left, I look out there, there's a big cloud of smoke out there." It was an accident. It was close to the end of the runway, so it had to have been on takeoff. I said, "Oh, that's terrible." I said, "I'm just going over the hangar," whatever it was. And they said, "Okay, you're cleared to go." So I went over there. And I walked up, and there were only, the officer was there, and a couple other pilots had something they were doing that day. And I walked in, and I said, "Somebody bought it today, I guess." And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know who it was?" He said, "Well, we know it was our sister squadron." I said, "Oh, that's too bad." He said, "And his name is Swenson." And I said, "Swede." And he said, "Oh, you know him?" I said, "Yeah." And I used a bad word. I said, "That blankety blank owed me $20, and I'll never get it now." And they thought I was serious, and they just looked at me like, "What a cold-blooded man he is," And they told everybody in the squadron. Everybody kind of looked at me, and I knew them all, and they thought, well, I knew he joked about life and death a lot, but here he's really saying it, and I just made it up. But I had played poker with him, but he didn't owe me anything. One story on him. They came to me one day, and I'd been there for quite a while. And the squadron, I guess it was the CO, came by and said, "Roy, I got a special treat for you." And I said, "Yeah, what is that?" He says, "I got a young man." He says he's 23 years old. He's Vietnamese, Mr. Tong. And I said, "Oh, that's nice. And what do you want me to do with him?" And he says, "Well, he can't land the airplane. He can fly it okay, but he can't land it." And I says, "Well, can't we kick him out?" And he says, "Not really." He says, they don't want him back. So we don't know what to do with him. And I said, "So you want me to teach him how to land?" And he said, "Yeah, if you can." And so I took him out, and they were right. He wasn't very good. He kept just pranging in and stalling in. And I finally said, I said, just, I'm going to watch you. I'm not going to look at the runway. So don't take it all the way to the ground, because I don't want you to continue, that way. And we're going down, and I said, raise your nose, meaning the aircraft. He's coming in. Here's the runway. We're probably at 300 foot, and he's going like this. And there's no way in God's green earth you're going to land that thing, unless you take the power off and hog the nose up and just sit there and take it on in. But then I noticed every time I said, raise your nose, he'd go like this. He's raising his nose. And this is what all they got, because that's what you do. You tell him to raise your nose, meaning the airplane's nose. And I explained to him what I say there. I said, you can look at your instrument if you want to. You can just look at the runway, and you can see you're looking there. And if I say, raise your nose, you raise the nose of the airplane. Your nose will go up too. I said, but just think of it as the air. After that, he could land.